Up with KREM begins now.
Welcome back to Up with KREM, and there's a new game plan this year. The world's largest 3-on-3 basketball tournament is going virtual. Spokane Hoop Fest organizers canceled this year's in-person tournament after receiving guidance from the Spokane Regional Health District. Now, whether you are part of a team or just a fan, we want to know if you will still participate this year. Head to the KREM 2 app to vote now in our live poll. And coming up in the next 15 minutes, we'll hear from Hoop Fest Executive Director Matt Santangelo on how the virtual format is going to work. And thank you to everyone who's already weighed in so far. 89% of people saying they're not interested. But Joshua, we haven't exactly heard all the little details of what's going into this virtual event, so looking forward to that.
I am looking forward to hearing from Matt because, he's been working on plans for months. Every time we talk to him, he said, they have so many plans that he had to stop listing them as letter plans and go into like numbers. So he is the guy to talk to about what it's going to look like in this new format.
Yes, he is the almighty knowing Hoop Fest organizer. So we are going to take our questions to him again coming up at 6:45. If you have a question too at home that you would like us to ask, text us right now, 509-448-2000. Now here in the meantime, let's take a look outside. Normally this time of year, if we're getting ready for Hoop Fest, we were looking to see how hot it would be and how hot it would be on the pavement. So for more on that, let's check in with Evan Narani.
All right, thank you very much, Jen. I know, I feel like with all of our polls in the morning, they tend to be a little more pessimistic for about the first 2 hours, and then the optimism shines through. So I'm hoping that by the time we get over to the CW22, things will kind of change a bit. Taking a look at what we have weather-wise, Jen was talking about that hot pavement. Boy, that's going to be the theme for about the next 7 days at least, as a prolonged stretch of dry weather is hitting us. This is good news for anyone who maybe felt like we didn't see those warm temperatures and summer-like conditions for most of the late springtime, which we really didn't. The warmest we've seen temperatures in the Northwest this year has been 89 degrees. Normally we would have been well into the 90s by this point, yet we still wait. Here we are with about mid-80s in the afternoon. High pressure overhead, that's the dominant weather feature really across the entirety of the Northwest. We're making it to about 82, maybe 83 degrees in downtown Spokane. Looks like that sunset, though, getting shorter and shorter. We're still at 8:44 for the sunset today, so still longer days, but we're going to see every day we're losing about 2 minutes of total day length before we just slowly near the fall season. 3-day forecast shows that we are warming up, though. We've got upper 80s in store by the time we get to Thursday. There is a good chance that we will make it to the 90-degree range next week. This week doesn't seem to be it. It seems like we'll stay in the mid and upper 80s, and then 90s will come around by the time we get into about the middle portion of next week. Let's take a look at what's going on the roads as we start off the day. So far, so good. Roads are clear. Roads are mostly calm. We're not seeing too much of any backups on the roads. In fact, almost no cars is what we see. So if you head out for the morning commute, you should be very good to go. Jen, I'll send things over to you.
All right, Evan, thank you so much. Well, getting back into Hoop Fest here, the world's largest 3-on-3 basketball tournament, certainly going to be looking a little different this year. Hoop Fest 2020 is moving online. So Hoop Fest organizers made that decision yesterday to cancel the in-person event due to coronavirus. And they say the Spokane is not in phase 3. Now, the event was scheduled for the weekend of August 22nd. Canceling Hoop Fest in its original format, though, impacts the organization, but also downtown businesses. Hoop Fest often brings in about $39 million to the Spokane economy. Now, this morning, we're asking, with Hoop Fest moving to a virtual format, we want to know what you think. Will you participate this year? Vote now on the KREM 2 mobile app or on krem.com/vote. Now, this is a first for Hoop Fest. It has not canceled in 31 years. Nicole Hernandez is joining us live now to tell us more about the history of Hoop Fest. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Jen. So here in downtown is where every year more than 400 courts get taped off for the famous 3-on-3 tournament. Now, this would have been Hoop Fest's 31st annual tournament, but because of COVID-19 concerns, they did have to cancel that, and the 3-on-3 tournament will not be happening here in downtown Spokane. So take a look at this. This is where typically your center court for the weekend would be. You can see the difference this morning compared to how crowded the streets look, full of basketball courts, players, and fans during that weekend. So instead, organizers say they will be doing a more virtual but still interactive event. That will happen in August, the same weekend organizers had originally moved the event to. And even though Hoop Fest weekend is all fun and games, the organization has actually helped out the city a good amount. Over the years, Hoop Fest has built dozens of courts around the county, plus we were branded Hooptown USA. So here's a look at some quick facts about the event. They buy more than 6,000 basketballs to make it happen. It takes 14 miles of tape to make all the courts, which is enough to go all the way from Gonzaga up to Green Bluff. And contestants play a total of 14,000 games in just the one weekend. But most important, of course, is the thousands of people that get to have fun throughout the 3-day weekend. And hopefully, even though this is moving online and virtual, we'll all still be able to have that same fun. Live in Spokane, I'm Nicole Hernandez.
Nicole, thank you so much. Well, if you'd like more information about this new virtual event, you can text HoopFest to our text line 509-448-2000. We'll send you back some information. And stay tuned here. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll be talking to HoopFest Executive Director Matt Santangelo. He'll tell us more about the options this year for both players and fans. That's coming up at 6:45. Joshua?
Thank you very much, Jen. The month of July has already passed June for the highest monthly total of new COVID-19 cases in Spokane County. And it only took 2 weeks to get there. So we're going to look at some of the other trends that we are seeing this morning by the numbers. We're looking once again at data from Spokane Regional Health District. And with 52 new confirmed cases just yesterday, that brings the total reported so far in July to surpass the month of June by 17. 801 is the July total. In fact, just in the week of July 5th, 464 new cases were confirmed, and that is more than April and May combined. Of course, testing and contact tracing are very different between April and May and July. We're at a different phase as well of Washington's Stay Safe reopening plan. So a better way to measure these same cases is by looking at the Epidemiological Link. This is a term that we brought to you last week here on Up with KREM, and it's a connection between one confirmed case of the virus and another confirmed case. So they're positively linked together. So if we see this line, the goal would be to get it as close to 100% as possible. That would mean that all cases are linked together and that there is zero community spread. Health leaders, as we mentioned, want to see it as close to that number as possible. But right now, as we look at Spokane County, we can see it's headed in the opposite direction. Looking at this data, last week marked the first time since March that more cases have been credited to community spread than to contact tracing. It is worth pointing out that for weeks now, we have told you here on Up with KREM, the test results take a week or two before they come back, positive or negative. And over the past month, we have seen Father's Day, we've seen Independence Day, we've seen a number of protests happening. So basically, as we look back in this month of June, Governor Inslee said he doesn't expect to see any major changes from the statewide mask mandate for several weeks. So we're still waiting for that to happen, and we're waiting for these numbers to kind of make that change. And we don't want to diminish our efforts today. The impact of our efforts today, like following that mandate, might not be seen for a few more weeks. So of course, we will keep our eyes on this data as the month of July moves forward. We'll be right back with more Up with KREM.